The time is the winter of 1938, and I started building a model airplane of the latest fighter plane, which was the Curtiss Hawk P-36. And the place I was working was on the kitchen table at our farmhouse on our home farm. And the picture I show here is of the airplane when it was finished, and we took a picture on it sitting on the snowbank. And I used to hang my airplanes in the ceiling in the upstairs of our farmhouse, where I had many airplanes hanging. And during the war, when I was overseas, I had a letter from my mother, and she said, someone left the window open upstairs on our farmhouse, and we had a real hard wind and blew all your airplanes out of the ceiling, and they landed in a heap on the floor. And we took the airplanes and put them up in the attic. There they laid for many, many years. And many years later, my brother Lyle and I were out, and I said, I wonder what's left of those airplanes. So we went up there, and I salvaged 2 model airplanes from what was left of them, which some of them were in fairly bad shape, but this one was pretty good condition yet. And one other one, which was a 1940 J3. So I kept this airplane all these years, so now, about 70 years later, I decided that, with some encouragement from my family, to start restoring it back to original condition. So here I am, all this time later, restoring that airplane that I was 15 years old, building on the kitchen table out at our farmhouse. And now I'm at a partly finished. It's been refinished, and I have much more work to do on it yet. And I had to replace wood and replace parts because it was quite brittle. So I spent many hours restoring and getting back to original condition. And this is where it's at. This is the stage it's at right now. So I have more work. I have painting to do, and part of the controls to install and refinish, and so there's many parts that have to go back on it again. So eventually I hope to get it back to where it looked in 1938. And it's been a lengthy process to go through it and rebuild it and refinish and to get it back. And I had to replace some parts because the wood parts in it were so brittle that they're practically falling apart. So hopefully, after some more hours, I'll have it back to original again. I can display it finished. And later pictures I can show it when it's back to 1938 stage again.
Okay, and you told us one thing that you recently heard some history about a P-36 in Pearl Harbor.
Yes, and there's some history about the Curtiss Hawk P-36. When Pearl Harbor was attacked in 1941, the first airplane to shoot down a Japanese Zero was a P-36. And the P-36 at that time had been replaced by the P-40, so it was actually an obsolete airplane. But they had a few of them. Mm-hmm. They had a few of them at Air Base in Hawaii. And that's the first airplanes that got off the ground. And the pilot was called the pajama pilot because he jumped out of bed in the morning when they were attacked, and he ran out and he got in his airplane. He was still in his pajamas. And he managed to shoot down the first Japanese airplane in World War II. And these are the plans and that I worked on when I built the airplane. And it says copyright 1938 on there. Mm-hmm. So this is where we started with it. kit full of balsa and some glue and some covering. And then that, from there on, we ended up with an airplane.
Well, we'll check back in a little while and see if you got it ready to
Yeah.
like original. Thank you very much.
Okay.